Police work to revive traditional values. University fundraisers for new dormitories. And PNG develops oceans policy.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Sunday's news. A traffic accident in the nation's capital this morning erupted into a punch-up between the owners of the two vehicles. One of the vehicles, a Toyota Camry sedan, was transporting churchgoers when it was hit by the other at Gerahu. Erika Rupma with this report.
According to bystanders, the accident happened around 9 o'clock this morning at the Gerahu Crossroad when a Toyota Camry transporting a family to the church was hit by another vehicle which was supposed to give way for them. The driver of the other vehicle is believed to have been under the influence. As the traffic police were investigating, a scuffle erupted at the site between owners of the crashed vehicles. Police had to intervene and discharge the brawl, which could have been worse. Minutes later, the police tow truck arrived and towed the crashed vehicle away. Traffic police are investigating. The accident occurred at an area which has no traffic signs to control flow of traffic. Erika Rupma, National EMTV News.
To lay now, and a man in his early 20s was killed in a brawl at West Taraka late last night. Two more have been hospitalized, suffering knife wounds to their thighs, and two houses burned down at around 6 a.m. this morning. Lay police were able to quell the situation by 9 a.m. and then arrested the man who had instigated the fight. The drunken melee started from a domestic argument.
Lies here are remnants of what used to be homes for two families in Lace, West Taraka. The smoke and ash also came with blood, as a man in his early 20s was killed with two others being hospitalized with knife wounds to the thighs. Police say the fight had started from a domestic argument between a couple.
Mane drink finish emi go house blow tambu blongan na paiti meri blongan. So time paiti meri blongan nungu true. All bartablo meri kerap na oli paiti mem. So all roni mem kam now emi go mobilize mo line blongan na oli kam na. That's where the heavy also problem mem start blongan em notice la.
West Taraka has seen its fair share of violence. Just last year, the suburbs police station was burnt down. This has made work difficult for police.
Suspect, he's a wanted suspect, MESKP too. So this morning, we play through our negotiations with the community leaders or relatives. We managed to get the suspect. Now suspect him now is behind bars now.
The man who had instigated the fight was arrested by Lay police at 10 a.m. this morning. Police say he was drunk when he had started the fight. Community members who witnessed the violence say innocent lives are being put at risk.
As play having a problem in Okilia, but all can fight lo area blomia cannot say battlefield to plus side in come na fight.
Yesterday, the West Taraka community with the Lay City Lord Mayor Koim Trilulay and Morobe Governor Kelly Naru opened a 300-meter concrete road. With services slowly finding their way into the community, law and order issues still remain a concern. Harry Gimbari, National EMTV News, Lay.
There is a growing concern of homebrew consumption on Manus Island. Manus Police Commander, Senior Inspector David Yapu, told EMTV News that in the past 18 months, there have been 3 deaths related to homebrew consumption. He also said there is a need for more police personnel in the province.
The police commander says in the last 2 years, cases related with homebrew consumption have increased on Manus Island.
Homebrew consumption has also created social problems in the community, such as domestic violence, fighting, damaging property, bodily harm, and deaths. In fact, we had 3 deaths reported last year in 2006, and 1 reported earlier this year, 2017.
He says one of the contributing factors to this is the betel nut trade, which people use to smuggle illicit drugs into the province from Medang and Wewak.
Drugs, firearms have been smuggled into the province by the boy trade business, resulting to law and order in the province. The trade involved movement of criminal elements also into the province. Recently, we arrested two suspects, youths selling drugs.
Wapu added that there is a need for more police personnel on the island.
In Manus alone, we have 55 policemen and women, and I need to increase our manpower capacity to at least 100.
However, he says they are able to perform their duties despite limited resources and manpower.
We are able to maintain law and order at the management level and to secure a safer community for our people in Manus province.
Florence John Duo, National MTV News.
NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Ben Turi says traditional police drills have died out at most police stations in Port Moresby. Thus, a joint training was conducted to revive them. The training targeted areas like discipline of junior police officers and how to lay charges against police personnel.
The workshop covered topics on misconduct of policemen and women on social media, how police should handle complaints against fellow policemen, and disciplinary actions and suspension of police officers who are found guilty of misconduct while on duty. It was attended by all police station commanders in the NCD Command. Head of NCD Command Ben Turi encouraged all PSCs to earn the trust and respect from junior officers at the station level.
Our vision is to have a well-disciplined police in NCD and the country.
The workshop conducted by the Internal Affairs Unit is in response to the Police Commissioner's directive in 2016 to minimize cases of police brutality and create a good image of our PNGC. Since 2016, the METSUP said his command has been slowly dealing with problematic and habitual offenders. This is the first of such training and was conducted in partnership with the Australian Federal Police.
1990 up until 2011 thereabout, we've just lost the plot on the discipline issues. And I think probably what we're really doing now is firstly try to rediscover what we had that added the values of the organization.
Thakla Gunga, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. We'll have more local stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National MTV News. The Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals of PNG held the longest lunch to help fundraise for a new animal shelter and to keep the animal pound open. The RSPCA is the only veterinary clinic in PNG and is based in Port Moresby. They also manage the nation's capital's dog pound.
RSPCA is a community-based not-for-profit organization dedicated to preventing cruelty to animals. With the longest lunch, they hope to raise 60,000 kina.
120,000 to 150,000 a year just to run our clinic and our shelter. Our shelter houses up to 50 dogs and cats per week. So the fundraising we're having today is try to help our shelter. We're aiming to raise 60,000 kina so far.
And part of the fundraising will go to building new shelter homes.
120,000 to 150,000 a year just to run our clinic and our shelter. Our shelter houses up to 50 dogs and cats per week. So the fundraising we're having today is try to help our shelter. We're aiming to raise 60,000 kina. So
RSPCA is also a strong advocate of the illegal selling of native animals and have an education program on that.
We have a policy where we would prefer for people not to buy animals because when you buy, you encourage the trade to continue. So that goes in line with our education program whereby we go out to schools.
They also encourage families in the nation's capital to stop by RSPCA and adopt a pet. Adelaide Xerox Kari, National MTV News.
Divine Word University's main campus in Madang has begun a fundraising drive calling on former students to help raise 4 million kina for new dormitories. Vice President Corporate Services Pais Bokarum said the new dormitories will increase the university's capacity to take in more students. DWU initially began as a Catholic high school nearly 50 years ago.
By 2018, Divine Word University will be 50 years old from when the institution began as the Catholic high school in 1968, built by missionaries of the Society of the Divine Word. In 1997, many of the old buildings from the Catholic high school days were still standing when the government of Sir Julius Chan declared the Divine Word Institute a university through an NEC decision. With the 20 years of developments coming to an end, the university is looking forward to another decade.
The university holds a lot of sentimental value for myself and many other graduates at DW now, and for those who have gone past most probably high school days and institute. We were formed.
With increasing demand for university education, DWU is trying to meet that demand by increasing its capacity.
We have established 4 to 5 different campuses across the country, and so by 2026 we would like to at least enroll about 7,000 students.
In the center of the campus, new lecture rooms are nearing completion. The construction on the second portion of the building has begun. What is perhaps the most important news for former male students are plans to replace these 2 aging dormitories built more than 40 years ago.
We fundraise between now and 2019 about 4 million kina.
The fundraising drive is expected to begin in Madang and hopefully extend to other centers, with former students taking up the opportunity to be part of DWU's development over the next decade. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Madang.
A major global law firm that is opening its Port Moresby office will be headed by a female Papua New Guinean lawyer. Carol Lelai from Rigo, Central Province, is the principal lawyer of Norton Rose Fulbright's Port Moresby office. The law firm operates in 50 cities globally with more than 3,500 lawyers and legal staff, now with Port Moresby among them.
Carol Lelai has more than 15 years of experience as a lawyer. Prior to joining the law firm in November last year, she was in the petroleum industry.
Norton Rose, with its experience, network and capabilities, looks forward to enhancing its global service to clients, and the recent expansion in the US market, together with the opening of our Port Moresby office, is consistent with our mantra, law around the world.
Norton Rose Fulbright is not new to the country. They have done work for the government and private enterprises over the years. Their key industry sectors are financial institutions, energy, infrastructure, mining and commodities, transport, technology and innovation, and life sciences and healthcare. The launching saw members of the judiciary services, departmental heads, bureaucrats, and also the Attorney General Ano Pala and the former Attorney General Karangakua in attendance.
We are also very proud of our lawyers in PNG and Norton Rose Fulbright's new office, and their team here on the ground will continue to enhance the legal capacity across our country. So we are pleased to have you here.
The law firm will also be investing in the legal profession under a scholarship program. This program is open to final year law students. Merlin Diaukatam, National MTV News.
This week will be another big week for election preparations. Starting tomorrow, a 3-day election managers conference will commence in Kokopo, Eastern Britain Province, while ballot paper printing in Indonesia will be completed by tomorrow as well. The ballot papers are expected to be shipped out of Semarang, Indonesia later this week and should be in the country by the end of March, 2 months before polling starts on June the 24th. High on the agenda for the Kokopo conference will be the progress of electoral roll updating and objection and polling budget for individual provinces. Papua New Guinea is developing an oceans policy. A draft is being circulated to stakeholders for comments before it is finalized. The push to establish an oceans policy comes as PNG gears up for an oceans conference in New York in June this year. A Papua New Guinean expert, Professor Chalapan Kalwin, involved in developing this policy, spoke to MTV about it recently.
Professor Chalapan Kalowin is now the head of Environmental Science and Geography and Director of Center for Climate Change and Sustainable Development at the University of Papua New Guinea. He is also part of a committee that is working on finalizing PNG's oceans policy.
It started like last year, really, but the whole process has taken a bit longer than that. It's slowly just getting momentum to get a lot of sectors, including provincial government, to support that kind of thinking.
Professor Kalowin hopes the policy will be finalized soon so that it will be part of the oceans discussions that the Pacific region will have in Fiji to formalize the region's position to bring to the New York conference in June.
We had to make sure they understood the responsible, sustainable development goals for Papua New Guinea, and that's in place.
He says in PNG, one of the main issues to note when it comes to ocean management and resources is governance.
What I mean governance is who owns that ocean. When you go to a reef or when you go into the ocean, in between this, does it belong to outsiders or does it belong to the people of Papua New Guinea? And that must be identified properly.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Up next, we'll have some sporting action in Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with the OFC Champions League, and the opening match between Madang FC and AS Central Sport Tahiti went south for Madang with 3 points to Tahiti's 7 last evening. Both sides are first-timers in this regional stage of the competition, but Tahiti showed prowess and dominated the field of play early on. Vanya Malagian scored the opening goal for Madang, followed by a sleek one from Eliuda Pohe, and Nigel Malagan took a penalty shot. But after the 56th minute, MFC had no chance of scoring again as Tahiti kept scoring until full-time while putting up a strong defence. The Port Moresby Soccer Association Round 4 pre-season saw Team Guria proving to be the better side against PS in the women's division. The Gurias beat their opponents 5-0 yesterday. The first half saw an early goal from the Gurias. PS barely made their presence felt, and by half-time, Gurias were leading by 2 points. In the 50th minute, another goal from the Gurias brought the scoreline to 3-0, and minutes later, another goal occurred from just outside the PS box. Just before full-time, efforts by PS to recuperate on the scoreboard were to no avail as the Gurias scored again right on full-time. To Rugby Union, and Capital Rugby Union pre-season competition has attracted a number of teams in the 2-week tournament. Season proper starts next month. This weekend, the first match in the women's division saw Harlequins take on Sisters, the Harlequins proving too good, recording 4 consecutive tries to win this battle.
It was game on at first whistle between the Harlequins and Sisters before Harlequins scored their first try with 5 minutes into the first half. The remaining 2 minutes of the first half were not wasted by the Harlequins scoring their second try, bringing the score to 10, Sisters 0. In the second half, Sisters managed to gain enough momentum despite strong defence by the Harlequins, and with great pass, Sisters scored their first try, bringing their score to 5, Harlequins still on 10 points. In the remaining minutes of the second half, Harlequins came in full force with blinding speed and creativity to score 2 more tries, nailing the coffin at 20 points to Sisters 5. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports for today. We'll have for you the weather details when we come back.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Here's a quick look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Some showers expected in Port Moresby, Daru, Kerma and Popondetta, mostly fine in Alotau. To the Momase region, Lay a shower or two as well as in Wau. Some showers expected in Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, some showers in Lay, Lorengau, Kavieng and Buka. A shower or two expected in Kokoporo, Baul and Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect some showers with morning fog.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And to end the news tonight, a quick recap of our main stories. Police work to revive traditional values, university fundraisers for new dormitories, and PNG develops oceans policy. And that has been the news, sports and weather for tonight, Sunday, the 26th of February 2017. On behalf of the EMTV News team, have a pleasant working week. Good night.